Mics, camera, action. Welcome to another episode of Takaro Kids. This week, we are going to focus on two very, very big sporting events taking place in the world right now. There's a lot happening way over in Italy, and there's a lot happening here in India and Sri Lanka. First, we're going to talk about the Winter Olympics.
And you know what's very interesting, Debbie, is that Italy is participating in the event that's taking place in India and Sri Lanka, and India is participating in the event that's happening in Italy. It's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's how global sporting events usually work, Kiran. Multiple countries participate.
Excellent, thank you. But it is the first time Italy is participating in this international T20 World Cup.
That is correct. On that front, yes, I'll hand it to you. It is the first time for Italy. We will come to that in more detail in the second half of this episode. First, we will talk about the Winter Olympics. As we mentioned, it started, it's going on in Milan and Cortina d'Ampezzo. I figured out how to pronounce that. Last time I was struggling.
Good job. Yeah, she's been practicing for the last 1 week, guys.
I have. So it's d'Ampezzo. I forgot, that's how you're supposed to say, like pizza and pezzo. That's how you say it. See?
Interesting.
Simple. Lots of interesting stories, yes, coming out from Milan and Cortina. One which caught my eye was about this young 27-year-old called Vladyslav Heraskevych, who's from Ukraine.
Yep.
Remember, we talked about a sport. Yeah, he made a statement, but we talked about a sport called skeleton.
Yeah.
Where you basically lie on a board and you race down, you're lying down head first, feet at the back, on your tummy, and race down this slide entirely made out of ice. It's called skeleton. Well, Vladyslav was competing in that, but he was disqualified. And the reason for that is because he's from Ukraine and he decided to wear a helmet with pictures of all the Ukrainian athletes who actually lost their lives in that horrible war that is going on between Ukraine and Russia, where Russia is trying to take over certain parts of Ukraine. Remember, we spoke about this story? Well, yeah, he decided to speak up and use this Olympics as a platform to draw attention to this. And, the organizers have always been strict about such political statements, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, they actually had a lot of, meetings with Vladyslav, and they went back and forth. There were a few different appeals that happened. So the initial sort of appeal went to the IOC, which is the governing body for Olympics globally. And then it went as a further appeal to the Court of Arbitration of Sport. And both of them upheld the same decision, which was to dismiss the appeals and say, hey, this is not okay. Because once you make it okay for one, it becomes okay for everyone else, right? So it sets a precedent. And so it's interesting. I mean, it's sad because he wanted to make a statement about the suffering of war and, how many athletes, because this is a sporting event, had actually died. At the same time, I guess, you can look at it from both sides, saying on the other side, IOC also needs to make sure it's the same rules for everyone. You say yes to Vladislav's, then the Russians can come in and do something.
Start
and so
making
can the
statements.
Americans. And so it just becomes really messy.
Yeah, and this has happened before as well. In fact, if you remember the 24 Paris Olympics, one interesting that stood out was this Afghan breakdancer, Manizha Talash. She basically, was competing as part of the refugee Olympic team. So there's an Olympic team formed of countries that are in situations where the athletes cannot participate and represent their own country. So they form a team together. And she was disqualified because she wore a cape which had a slogan which said "Free Afghan Women," because there's a lot of atrocities happening in Afghanistan against women. So she wanted to draw attention to that, but she was also, not allowed to do that.
Yeah. So that was the major controversy in the Winter Olympics over the last 1 week. Another amazing thing, I don't know if you kind of saw this, but Norwegian skier Johannes Klæbo, he is a cross-country skier. He won his 8th Olympic gold medal, so he had the most number of gold medals in Winter Olympic history. But what was amazing is, and maybe all of you all should go and actually look at this video. Cross-country skiing is when you actually wear skis, and skis are meant to ski. But over here in cross-country skiing, there are parts where you have to run and walk and tread over different terrain. And there is this video of his ending where he is actually running uphill in skis where all the others behind him are like struggling. This guy is just like going woohoo, like it's a really easy jog. And it is incredible just seeing that, because that's what kind of shows you the amount of, I think, talent, sporting talent, determination, how important it is to these athletes.
And conditions at these, speaking of running up, it's not been very easy for a lot of these athletes, right? Because this is one Winter Olympics where there's been a lot of artificial snow that's been used to actually create the right conditions. In fact, I was reading about how it's been really hard for a lot of athletes because, snow, natural snow is soft. It's made of many, many snowflakes. We know this. But artificial snow is created, like you freeze water and then it's created into like these tiny balls. So it's much harder. It's, when you fall on this, it's a much harder surface. It's also much narrower. Normally, when it's naturally snowing, there's snow all around you, right? So even if you fall, you land in a snowbank on the side. But here, because it's just a narrow trail, chances of injuries of you falling on the mountainside where it's hard surface is higher.
Yeah, and the reasons is also because, winters are getting warmer. Also, some of the events are actually happening at lower altitudes from an Italy perspective. So it's not as high up in the mountains. And so that's why they're needing to pack more artificial snow into the arena.
Yeah.
But you wanted to talk about the South Korean as well, right?
Oh, yes, I did. Because, that's the other super cool story. Okay, this is from the event which is called the snowboarding halfpipe. Basically, snowboarding halfpipe, it's a freestyle competition where, you have to do these acrobatic tricks and you ride back and forth inside this 22-foot high snow ramp, which is called a super pipe.
It's like a semicircle.
Yeah, exactly. So the big star of this event is this woman called Chloe Kim. Okay, she's from the US and she was all set to win her third gold medal, which would have been the highest gold tally for this event. But she lost, and she lost to a 17-year-old girl from South Korea. Her name is, and I want to say it right, Choi Gaon. Okay, but she was not as upset as she should have been. Do you know why?
I know you are going to tell her.
Well, she was not upset because Choi is actually her protégé. What does a protégé mean? She helped Choi. She mentored her. In fact, Chloe and Choi met many years ago at another event. And, Chloe and her dad realized how talented Choi was. And they actually supported her and helped her, bought her tickets to go to the US and train there, right? So after all that support today, Choi actually defeated her mentor. So she came second, Chloe came second, and Choi took the gold medal. So
that's
it's
amazing.
Such a cool story, right?
It's a heartwarming story.
Yeah, and by the way, she actually fell down pretty badly in the first run. So people were quite worried about that, but she had a flawless final performance. And it's almost like passing on, the mantle to the upcoming stars of tomorrow.
It is a very nice story. And we had also kind of talked about the two Indian who were going to be a part of the Winter Olympics. Only two people, because Winter Olympics and winter sports is not really native to India, right? Mm-hmm. We're trying to grow it. Hopefully in the next few years, we kind of have more athletes competing. But Arif Mohammad Khan and Stanzin Lundup, I think Stanzin Lundup has actually finished fairly without a medal, fairly back in the pack, so to say, in his competition, which is cross-country skiing. But I think Arif Mohammad Khan still has a couple of events to complete, the downhill slalom as well. So we'll take a look. I mean, no one is expecting India to kind of, win medals over here, but just the participation itself is the first step towards building that entire sort of ecosystem in India, right? Going out and being Winter Olympics athletes. That is such an amazing thing.
I think it's always nice to have someone to cheer for, right? And same way, it applies to the athletes as well. It's always nice for an athlete to know someone is cheering for you. So do watch, do try and catch the sports, the different events that are happening and cheer on. And it doesn't have to be someone from your own country. Cheer on all these different players. Identify who your favorites are. I mean, there are some very young athletes here as well. I think it's always good to cheer people on because that's what athletes need. They need that support. And with that, now let's round up the medal tally so far. It's still going on. It's going to go on till the end of February. But so far, it is Norway right on top of the list with the highest number of medals.
Go Norway!
Why do you like Norway so much?
I used to live in Norway. So that's just backstory, but go Norway.
Fair enough. And Italy is second. Yay, Italy, because I love Italian food.
Okay then.
And third place is actually shared by US and Japan. Yay, Japan, because I also love Japanese food. And they are at 14 medals. Of course, USA has more gold medals than Japan. So actually, they're in third place. So it's Norway, Italy, US, and Japan. So keep an eye on that list. You'll know why.
It's going to be important.
At the end of this episode, yes.
Now, switching gear, coming back home to India and Sri Lanka, we have the 2026 T20 World Cup happening over here. 20 teams, Debbie, 20 teams. I don't think cricket has ever seen so many teams.
It is a truly, truly global event. I mean, you have so many countries that have not participated, or they have, but you've not really paid attention to them because, they're smaller teams. They're not traditionally cricket playing nations. The greats are countries like, of course, India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Australia, South Africa, England, right? These are the great cricket playing nations. I might have missed New Zealand. You have countries like Namibia, Scotland, Netherlands, Italy. They're debutants, as we said. First ever T20 World Cup. You have Canada that's playing. You have Afghanistan that's playing. Oman that's playing. I know, right? Yeah. UAE, Nepal, Ireland. So yeah, it's lots of countries participating this time. Very cool mix of the top dogs and the so-called underdogs. But the fun thing is, it seems the underdogs are not really behaving like the underdogs this time.
They are really competing. It is so interesting. Like, for example, I think some of the cool things that have happened in the Cricket World Cup, it's still early days, right? It's still very early days. It's going to be a month before the entire competition ends. This is still the group matches where everyone is playing each other in their own groups. Then what happens is the top teams kind of go into the knockout stages, right? And then from there you go into the semi-finals.
You have the Super 8.
So
the Super 8. Yeah.
So it's a long time before it actually gets done. But simple things like, Nepal versus England. I mean, Nepal, right?
It was a very good match, by the way.
Neighbors of ours. And they actually almost beat England. England won by just 4 runs. That is crazy close in T20. Yeah.
Superb. The other superb match was the one with Zimbabwe and Australia. Because again, Zimbabwe now has... Okay, let's go into Zimbabwe a little bit. They've been a sporting, cricketing nation for a long time. But unfortunately, because of a lot of political tensions, a lot of other issues, financial constraints, Zimbabwe was no longer considered a full members team. Okay, so in cricket, you have the full member teams, which is ICC recognized teams, the big players who are also test playing nations. Yep. Zimbabwe used to be a full member team, was one of the top dogs, but then a lot of things went wrong for them and they were, made an associate team. The associate teams are the second rung, tier 2.
Yeah.
Right. Also called the minnows. You know what minnows are?
Kind of like the underdogs.
Yes, they are the underdogs. Yeah, minnows are basically tiny fish, right? So basically, you're the you don't really. It's
literal. What does that mean by translation? Literal meaning. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's why. See, because we take a lot of these phrases and terms from what we see around us, right? So minnows are tiny fish, so they are literally called the tiny fish. Or, I mean, that
why
like I said,
underdogs
it's
called underdogs.
Good story. Maybe somebody can get into the history of where underdogs and top dogs came from.
Interesting. I would think. What happened to dogs?
I'm going to look into this for you, Kiran, and we shall take this offline and we will discuss it. If any of you want to know what it is, we will look it up and we'll probably do a little video for you to explain.
Or maybe someone else can message us.
Yeah, maybe you could do that too. Coming back to the cricket. So, as I was saying, the minnows, that's the unofficial term for the associate team. So, Zimbabwe is now considered an associate team. But they've come back and they actually defeated Australia, which is one of the best cricketing nations, by 23 runs. This is their second T20 World Cup win over Australia, and it's a major shock. I mean, Australia didn't know what was, what hit them. So, I think that was exciting. And then Italy, of course.
Italy competing for the first time. They defeated Nepal by 10 wickets. And
Yeah.
Nepal just about, almost beat England. So it's like crazy. Lots of very interesting matches.
Like UAE beat Canada. That was a big moment for UAE. Again, fairly new player in this. United States beat the Netherlands. The US is now suddenly growing as a cricketing nation. By the way, you know what? I want to quickly tell. So, did you know United States at one point was one of the biggest cricketing nations many years ago?
When was that?
So the US actually was a significant cricketing nation in the mid to late 19th century. So you're talking about 1840s and
1800s.
early 1900s, right? It was very popular at that time. And then slowly it got edged
Is that
out
because the
by
British were kind of the ones who
absolutely.
went in?
Huge influence, right? Yes, absolutely. But it got edged out by another game, which is very similar to cricket, which also has a bat and a ball. It's called baseball.
Yes. Lots happening. Make sure that you're watching because sports is really, really an exciting experience. And if you find teams, even if you don't have anyone you're cheering for, just to see that level of talent and the grit and determination that people kind of bring, it's amazing. Follow the Winter Olympics as well, not just the cricket. Follow the Winter Olympics because, Debbie, what is this week's quiz question?
This week's quiz question is not a quiz question. I mean, that's the first disclaimer I have to put up there. Yes, this week's quiz question has been replaced by this week's, what shall we call it? Prediction. We want you. Yes, if you remember, we spoke about Paul the octopus who kind of predicted who would win the Football World Cup. Well, we want you to be like Paul. Right? Be like that super smart, intelligent octopus and keep an eye on the medal tally, keep an eye on who's winning and predict which country will have the highest overall medal tally in the Winter Olympics 2026. Now, it doesn't have to be the highest number of gold medals. We just want to know, according to you, who will have the highest number of medals in total.
Right now, it is Norway and Italy, but the Winter Olympics ends on 22nd of February. We want you to send us your answers by Thursday and Thursday
That's 19th.
the 19th. Yeah. Thursday the 19th of February. You have to send us your answers by Thursday 19th February. And whoever gets it right will get a gift certificate and goodies.
And Thursday 19th February, morning, evening, afternoon or midnight?
Thursday, 19th February by 12 noon.
Noon, okay? Remember that. So if you're going to school, tell your parents in the morning to send it in, okay?
Yeah, or be like the school children who we have been getting a lot of answers from, who have been sending it from school. Because schools are now playing Takaro in the classes for all the students to listen.
Maybe that's a great idea, something you can ask your teachers to do for you as well. With that, we're going to announce the winner of last week's quiz question. We had asked, who is the first Indian to compete in luge, participating in 6 consecutive Winter Olympics from 1998 to 2018. He's also the youngest luge Olympian in history. And we gave you options. Option 1 was Abhinav Bindra. Option 2, Arif Khan. Option 3, Shiva Keshavan. And option 4, Neha Ahuja. What was the correct answer, Kiran?
The correct answer is Shiva Keshavan. 16 years old in the 1998 Winter Games in Nagano, Japan. I mean, 16 years old, guys. 16 years old, and this person was already in the Winter Olympics. And luge is, by the way, one of the most dangerous sports out there because it is going downhill in a confined space, in a whatever you call
platform
that.
Platform or board,
Platform, whatever. There are no brakes. You're going at like 100 kilometers an hour. So that's crazy. So we got a huge number of responses this week, which is amazing. Again, keep your eyes peeled on the Winter Olympics because it's going to be important for the next week's winner as well. This week, the winner is Nadia Desai Nadia,
Woohoo!
who gave us the right answer, Shiva Keshavan. Nadia is an 11-year-old from Bangalore. So congratulations, Nadia.
Well done, Nadia. Thank you for participating. Your gift certificate and Takaro Kids t-shirt is going to be on its way to you very, very soon. So look out for that. We'll also be getting in touch with you. And for all of you who want to be like Nadia and win, all you have to do is send in your answer. And this time we've given you a time limit. On the 19th of Feb by 12 noon, send it into takarokids.com. There's a place where you can enter your answer, or you can also DM us on Instagram.
Yeah. And until next week, be like Paul and predict who is going to win the Winter Olympics with the most number of medals. From us, it is bye-bye.
Goodbye.